Hey, what up YouTube, welcome back to a new video with Rams Fan at YT. In today's video we're looking at newcomers to the League One from last season. They got promoted via the playoffs, but we'll come to that at a later point. To a club which has never actually been relegated. One of only two clubs along with the AFC Wimbledon in the entire of the top four leagues to actually have done so. But football in the town dates way back to the turn of the 20th century. However, it was not until the 7th of May 1920 that Morecambe Football Club was formed after a meeting at the local West View Hotel. The club then took its place in the Lancashire Combination League for the 1920-21 season. Sharing grounds with Morecambe Cricket Club at Wood Hill Lane during the first season, football proved popular, with crowds in excess of 3,000 for derby fixtures with Lancaster City and Fleetwood Town. Although success on the field was hard to come by, with the club languishing near the bottom of the table. At the end of the first season, the club moved grounds to Rosebery Park. A few years later, after the purchase of the ground by the then president J.B. Christie, the ground's name was changed to Christie Park in his honour. Those early seasons proved difficult, and it was not until 1924-25 that the club began to enjoy some successes, claiming the league title for the first time, and this was later followed by the success in the Lancashire Junior Cup, beating old rivals Chorley after two replays and in front of 30,000 spectators. Christie bequeathed the ground to the club in 1927. And also helped incorporate the club into a limited company with a then share capital of £1,000. The rest of the 1920s and the whole of the 1930s saw a constant struggle to keep football alive on the northwest coast, and poor results on the field and little or no revenue off the field. The post-war era saw an upturn in the Shrimps' fortunes, though, with a steady upwards progress throughout the late 1940s and nearly all of the 1950s, with a visible marked improvement when in 1956 Ken Horton was appointed player manager. While success was only just around the corner, the foundations for the future were being built. The Auxiliary Supporters Club had been formed, and with their help many ground improvements were undertaken, so that the on-field success dovetailed neatly and with the off-field enterprise. The 14 years from 1960 could justifiably be said to be Morecambe's golden era. This included an FA Cup third round appearance in 1961-62, which was a 1-0 defeat to Weymouth. They also made a Lancashire Senior Cup final victory in 1968, a 2-1 win over Burnley, and an FA Trophy success at Wembley in 1974, a 2-1 win over Dartford in the final. The next 12 years were as barren as any previous period in the club's history. Attendances fell from a creditable 2,000 plus to a miserable 200 minus, with a visible decline in the club's fortune during that period. However, in 1985-86, signs of improvements appeared. The club's league position improved for one, and cup success over the next few years filled the club with optimism. It took 10 years for the club to reach its ambition of promotion to the Football Conference after many further improvements, not only to the ground, but also to the club's structure, giving the club the opportunity to confidently look forward as one of the more progressive conference clubs. Since elevation to the conference in 1995-96, the Shrimps achieved status as one of the leading teams in the league. In fact, only Woking had a longer and broken membership of the league at this time. Runners-up spot was claimed on one occasion, and the playoff places were narrowly missed twice. Also during this time, the club also equalled its best appearance in the FA Cup in both 2000-2001 and 2002-03. On both occasions, the club faced Ipswich Town, losing 3-0 and 4-0 respectively. Morecambe also defeated a few league clubs in the FA Cup, including Cambridge United in 2000-2001, and Chesterfield in 2002-03. In the 2005-06 season, Morecambe reached the playoffs, but were beaten 4-3 on aggregate by Hereford United after a 1-1 draw in the first leg at Christie Park. In November 2005, Jim Harvey suffered a heart attack during a league game at Christie Park against Cambridge United. The club quickly declared the appointment of a caretaker manager, Sammy McElroy, a long-time friend of Harvey. After McElroy's initial 3-month stint as caretaker expired, he was given the job for the remainder of the season, with Harvey expected to return on its closure. However, on his first day back as manager of Morecambe, Harvey was sacked by the club, and McElroy was appointed as permanent manager, with Mark Lillis as his assistant. It's a bit of a weird dynamic, that, isn't it? I'm just thinking of how Harvey would feel having a heart attack and then coming back recovering and then realising no longer got a job anymore, you've been replaced. Well, this caused a feud, obviously, between the long-time friends Harvey and McElroy, which has not yet been reconciled to this day. Very sad to see. In the absence of Harvey, Morecambe reached the conference playoffs. They lost to Hereford 4-3 on aggregate, but McElroy was appointed on a permanent basis in May 2006. The following season, Morecambe were promoted to the Football League for the first time in their history after winning the conference playoff final, beating Exeter City 2-1 at Wembley on the 20th of May 2007, in front of 40,000 fans, which followed their semi-final victory over York City. On the 17th of July 2007, Morecambe announced plans to move to a new stadium in time for the start of the 2009-10 season. Work did not, though, commence on the proposed site until spring 2009, with an anticipated completion date of summer 2010. Morecambe played their first game in the Football League against Barnet at Christie Park in August 2007, in which they played out a 0-0 draw to secure their first ever Football League point. On the 14th of August 2007, Morecambe played their first fixture in the League Cup and recorded a 2-1 win against near neighbours Preston North End at Deepdale, with Jim Bentley and David Artell scoring for Morecambe. The Shrimps compounded this result with another upset win over a Championship side, this time a 3-1 win over Wolverhampton Wanderers on the 28th of August, to advance to the third round of the League Cup, in which they faced a third consecutive Championship side, Sheffield United. However, Morecambe had made a step too far, and they lost 5-0. But they finished their first season in League Two in a respectable 11th place with 60 points. They also finished the 2008-9 season 11th, and this was with 63 points. 2009-10 season was Morecambe's last season at Christie Park, and they finished the season in 4th place, qualifying for the playoffs, where they unfortunately lost 7-2 on aggregate to Dagenham and Redbridge. On the 10th of August 2010, Morecambe played their first match at the Globe Arena against Championship side Coventry City in the League Cup first round. Morecambe secured a 2-0 win, with Andy Fleming scoring the first of 2 goals at the stadium. This earned Morecambe a Lancashire derby in the second round against another Championship side, Burnley, where they lost 3-1. On the 9th of May 2011, Morecambe manager Sammy McElroy left the club by mutual consent after 5 years at the helm. McElroy, who took over as manager from Jim Harvey, had left the club alongside assistant Mark Lillis. Morecambe chairman Peter McGugan praised the pair for their efforts since taking over, describing McElroy as the best manager in his reign at the club. On the 13th of May 2010, Bentley was appointed manager on a 2-year contract, signing a 2-year deal as player-manager. His first game as a professional manager was a 1-0 defeat at home to Barnet. The Shrimps went on a run of 4 wins in all competitions, including a 2-0 victory over Barnsley in the League Cup. After his first 9 games in charge, Morecambe sat top of the league after winning 6, drawing 2 and losing just once. Morecambe's defence at this time was crucial to success, conceding just 5 goals in 9 games. However, this didn't last, as a poor end to the season led to Morecambe finishing 15th in League Two. Still an improvement though on the previous season, and Jim Bentley's second season began with a 3-0 win over Exeter City. However, inconsistent performances once again resulted in them slipping into mid-table. During the 2016-17 season, Bentley received a 2-match touchline ban and was fined £1,000, though Morecambe fans paid the fine. I seem to remember that vaguely. It was quite controversial that he got sent off, I think it was, or something. Well, I don't think there was red card for managers at the time, but he would have been. Bentley left the club, though, in October 2019 to take the role of manager at AFC Fylde, having spent 16 months as the longest-serving manager in the top 4 tiers of English football. On the 7th of November 2019, Morecambe appointed Derek Adams as manager, signing him to a 2.5-year contract. The remainder of the season is shortened by the COVID-19 pandemic. The Shrimps finished 22nd after 37 games played, although this was still enough to avoid relegation. The 2020-21 season proved to be a banner year. Among other events, the season saw the club face 2 Premier League sides in various cup competitions, falling to Newcastle United in the 3rd round of the EFL Cup and to Chelsea in the 3rd round of the FA Cup at Stamford Bridge. The latter equalled their furthest run in the FA Cup since the early 2000s. The club also saw success in the league, qualifying for the League Two playoffs with 78 points. This was good enough for the 4th place spot in the league. They missed out on automatic promotion by a single point. I remember that day very well. I saw it was Bolton Wanderers who snuck up. I think it was like a 3-2 loss they had or something like that. It was very dramatic. Following a 3-2 aggregate win over Tranmere Rovers, though, in the semi-final, the club did confirm a spot in the League Two playoff final for the first time in their history, where they faced Newport County. On the 31st of May 2021, Morecambe beat Newport by a slender 1-0 in the final at Wembley Stadium, after Carlos Mendes Gomez converted a penalty in the 107th minute, earning the Shrimps promotion to League One, the 3rd tier of English football, and this was for the first time in their history. Adams resigned 3 days later, with the club stating that he had left to pursue an opportunity elsewhere, which proved to be a managerial job at Bradford City. On the 7th of June, the club announced that the former Motherwell manager, Stephen Robinson, would take over as manager for the club's first season in League One. However, with 32 games played in the season, Robinson left to take over at Scottish club St Mirren. After a game with former goalkeeper and goalkeeping coach Barry Roche as caretaker manager, Adams returned as club manager on a deal lasting until 2023. And although they are looking like they may be relegated for the first time in their history, either that or AFC Wimbledon will, either way. Although Fleetwood could technically also get snuck into it as well, so technically both of them could survive. That would be maybe that both of them have that record. But I do think Morecambe will ultimately be relegated. I do not think they're good enough compared to AFC Wimbledon or Fleetwood, but we will see. Doesn't mean that they've not got a great history anyhow. So coming up, I've got the best League Two winter transfers on. That will be Friday. I'll probably be running to Mickleover Royal British Legion. That's not too far away, so I should be able to manage that. And then next week, the history of Oxford United League Cup winners, I'm pretty certain. But goodbye for now.